Please welcome Blaise Allysen Kearsley.
Okay, so it all started in 1980. I was 8 years old, and I don't remember asking certain questions, but I guess I started to because my mother bought me a picture book called How Babies Are Made. And the book featured these paper cutout illustrations. There were 2 Cocker Spaniels frolicking in a field of dandelions, and then suddenly one dog was on top of the other dog and they both looked traumatized. And at the end of the book, there was a man lying on top of a woman, and she had her eyes closed, they were in bed, and they just looked like they were sleeping. And around the same time, I accidentally discovered some of my dad's penthouse magazines. And I had never seen anything like that before. And I went to him and I said, "Why do you have these?" And he said, "They have good articles." Like, he actually used that line. And that was all he said about it. He never mentioned it again. So when I found more penthouse magazines, it wasn't by accident. It was because I went looking for them. And I stole them. And late at night, under the covers with a flashlight, I would press my face close to the pages, examining these oddly tantalizing positions and facial expressions, basically just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And by then, I had become a chronic masturbator. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Also, I was humping my stuffed animals like the world was on fire. Like crazy. I was insatiable. And every night, I didn't hump just any stuffed animal. I saved all my love for the cows. As you do. I had 3 of them, and they were all named My Cow. And they were the color of butterscotch, and they had these brown button eyes and white felt ears. And God, I loved them. And I humped them so hard, so often, that their bodies were completely deformed. Like, they looked more like camels that had been abused. It was also sort of inevitable because of the frequency with which I mounted a cow that my mother would come into my room to check on me while I was sleeping and find me, you know, getting it done. And but here's the thing, I never would have known that I'd been caught in the act had she not made fun of me for it one day. Yes. And thank you for laughing at that, by the way. Yeah, I'll save the details of that moment for my mental health professional, but the point is, I was mortified, and well, I didn't stop getting off on my cows, because when you got a good thing going, you don't just walk away. But, right? Am I right? But I started to get the feeling that these were things that you didn't talk about and that you maybe weren't supposed to do in the first place. So I went to Pierce Elementary School, where sex ed started in 6th grade, and there were 70s film strips and ample use of the overhead projector. And I remember there was a movie about wet dreams and hard-ons called Am I Normal? And I was pretty sure that I had never had a wet dream or a hard-on, so ultimately sex ed left me with more questions than answers. And that same year, my grade was forced to go on this school-sanctioned weekend-long hiking trip with the 6th graders from the nearby Franklin School. And even though we were all the same age, the Franklin girls were different. They wore painted-on jeans and bright purple eyeliner and sticky pink-frosted lipstick, and they carried purses. Like, we had backpacks and used chapstick, you know, like we just had no idea that you could look like that at our age. We were 11. So on that weekend-long hiking trip, it was all about which Franklin girl was going out with which Franklin boy and who was doing what under the bushes after lights out. Like, this was really a thing, going under the bushes. And I, for one, could not imagine what went on in the bushes. Like, we had learned about sperm and menstrual cycles in sex ed. I vaguely understood how some things worked, but I didn't get how you actually did stuff. And panic-stricken, I realized, and maybe I was overthinking things, but I didn't even know what you were supposed to do with a boy's tongue in your mouth. And suddenly, this was really important information. Like, where were they teaching that? So, the Monday after that hormone-fueled hiking trip, all of the girls in my school came to class wearing bright purple eyeliner and sticky pink frosted lipstick, and someone had written Angela loves Steve on the wall in their girls' bathroom, and Angela and Steve didn't even go to our school. We had made fun of the Franklin girls behind their backs, like we had sneered at them and we called them sluts. But secretly, we wanted to be Franklin girls. Like, we wanted to be sluts too. So the remainder of our 6th grade year was just this like feverish frenzy of parties that all centered around Spin the Bottle. And I would sit there in awe and embarrassment while my friends made out with each other in front of everybody. And somehow I never made it past the first round in Spin the Bottle, so I never had to get or give more than a peck on the lips, which was so lucky because the idea that I could do it wrong and be laughed at was just paralyzing. I had one friend who got laughed right out of the cafeteria once when she said she thought a blowjob was when you blow on a guy's dick, which was totally what I thought it was too. I mean, if that's not what it is, let's call it something else so we all know what we're talking about. Everything around me had suddenly changed, and it seemed like all of my friends were doing things that I couldn't wrap my head around. Like, how did they know what to do? And why was I so far behind? I was envious of my friends, and I was confused, and I was so full of anxiety, and I felt like I had so many secrets. Like, I was trying to pretend like I wasn't a prude, when inside I felt like this perverted, penthouse-obsessed cow fucker. So, in 7th grade, I had my first boyfriend. His name was Chase, and he had strawberry blonde hair, and he always wore this navy blue Barracuda jacket with the sleeves shoved up to the elbows. And do you guys know what a Barracuda jacket is? Maybe it's just like from where I grew up. A Barracuda jacket is like, it's kind of like a members only jacket, but for non-members, I guess. But anyway, he was cute. And he was also the only white kid in junior high who knew how to pop and lock, so he was a keeper. And we went out for a month and a half, but I never let him kiss me, not once. And I knew he wasn't a prude, but he never complained. Like, he never even brought it up. So I thought my secret was safe. And then one day, I was sitting next to Chase in the cafeteria, and across from Chase's friend Peter, and out of nowhere, Peter said, "I dare you guys to French right now." And my heart stopped, and I felt my face turn red, and I was stalling, and Chase wasn't saying anything, and Peter was egging us on. So finally, I just sort of leaned toward Chase with the side of my face, and he kissed me on the cheek. And I looked at Peter, and Peter kind of smirked, and he squinted his eyes, and he looked at me, and he said, "Blaise, why are you such a prude?" And I said the only thing I could think of in that moment, which was, "I'm not a prude, I'm just not a slut." Which was basically me repeating a line that I'd heard in one of those sex ed movies in 6th grade. Chase and Peter exchanged glances, and Peter rolled his eyes, and Chase didn't say a word. He didn't come to my defense. And I knew he really liked me, and he was always really sweet, but the reality was he was a horny, about to be 13-year-old kid who had seen Porky's and Private Lessons, and he'd watched Cinemax After Dark, and he wore these really tight corduroy jeans, and he just wanted a normally developed girlfriend who might just put her hand there and just touch it just for 1 second. And, you know, at the end of the day, I couldn't blame him. So I was 14 before I even made out with a boy. I went with my friend Jill and her boyfriend to my boyfriend Mark's house, and his parents were out, and we went down to the basement, and there were 2 couches, one on either side of the room. And Jill was with her boyfriend on one couch, and I was with Mark on the other couch. We were under a blanket, and our legs were entwined, and my first real kiss was like this sloppy, messy, tongue wrestling marathon that just went on for hours. And it was like our faces were like covered in slobber, and the skin around our lips was like red and chafed, and our cheeks were really hot and red, and it was awesome. And I didn't do it wrong. In fact, I was fucking amazing at it. Well, we almost went to third base. Like, he felt me up under my shirt and over my jeans, and I put my hand on his crotch, but then I took it away because it was weird and it felt like a hot hamster, and I didn't know what you were supposed to do with it. But still, this was like a really good deal, and it was so fun, and I was so excited, and I felt like I had finally made it over to the other side. And that night, Jill, on that other couch, went further with her boyfriend than I went with mine. And fortunately, no matter what any of us did or didn't do, there was no one around who would make fun of us for it. Thank you.